I think a good way to start is definitely your new role, regional counselor. Do I have to move this?
No, I can't even see it. I'm blind as a bat, so it's no big deal. Yeah, no.
I'm hoping we have nice, easy. Regional counselor, that's a pretty cool role that you started how long ago?
December.
And it's a term of
4 years, we hope.
because of amalgamation and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, do we know anything that's going on with that, or is it all rumors
Not
so
till
far?
the fall. It's all rumors so far, but apparently we'll have the answers in the fall.
And I've heard, I think when I spoke with April and some others, that there's and I think even Grant Monday. Do you know Grant?
Yeah, from the city.
Yeah, he threw out some different ideas that are getting talked about. What do you think's going to happen?
What did he say he thought was going to happen?
I don't know if he said what he thought, but he definitely threw out the ideas of that there might be a whole region or just different cities or anything can happen, right?
Honestly, anything can happen. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the right thing that's going to happen. Because what may be right for Niagara region as a whole may not be right for individual municipalities that are going to get, like Waynfleet, like Lincoln, Lincoln, that are going to get kind of sucked up into the whole system. So that's concerning to me.
So let's start because even though we've talked a little politics, honestly, you're one of the biggest inspirations for me following politics. Because before talking... Well, don't, but it's because, I don't think it was the last time I was at your house, but maybe a couple times ago, and you were talking a little bit about politics, and I actually got to see some of the stuff, just you talking to people and putting things together. Because I've never been one for politics. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah,
but
you told me that.
Yeah, it's because the way I've always felt is I've got my life. I've got it going on, and I've got to take care of it. And I've always felt it would be hard for me to even influence anything to get changed. But what I can change is my day-to-day, and that's what I work on. Mm-hmm. But when somebody like you, a friend of mine, somebody that I've known, is very deep into it, and I see the passion, it strikes an interest to me. And it's not as if my conversations can't help in any way, but once I actually seen you on the front line, I'm like, that's pretty cool. And then I slowly, and being a realtor is tough, but it's pretty cool.
You can have an impact on people, and you have had an impact on people. So
that's interesting. Yeah. So
and it doesn't have to be party affiliated by no means.
Right.
I get bashed a lot because I'll have people say, that's not a conservative view. No, but it's a human view.
Right.
And there's the difference. And that's why I wanted to get into politics, was to change the way we do politics. And I believe I'm doing that at the local level, because
I love it.
When people get upset with me from one color or another color, I know I'm doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not following any particular party line. At the core, I'm conservative, of course. There's a belief system that I have that I think works. But in any party, there's ideology that needs fixing.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
So, to go back to the amalgamation, first of all, I don't even completely understand the current structure. So, if we start with Waynfleet, for example, I understand there's 4 councillors and a mayor.
Right.
And as I understand, the mayor sits on regional council.
That's correct.
And then on regional council, there's representatives from all the municipalities within Niagara.
That's correct. So depending on population, because of Waynfleet's population, I believe you just have the mayor. So that's your one-person representation. Yeah. So Welland, for example, has 2 councillors.
Right.
St. Catharines
and you're one of them.
And I'm one of them, yes.
Yeah.
And
who's the other one?
Pat Kyokyo.
Okay, sounds good. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay, no problem. Port Colborne, I believe, has 1. Niagara Falls, has maybe 4. I don't know exactly the breakdown. In total, with the chair, 32 people in total. So
32 from all the municipalities.
Mm-hmm.
So when they talk about amalgamation as regional councillors, that might mean, I'm guessing means less.
Absolutely, and I don't disagree with that. to be honest with you.
Interesting.
I don't disagree with that. What I do get concerned about is when big government gets involved and takes control and tries to tell municipalities what's best for them.
So they don't ask you guys what you think is
there
best?
There was feedback, of course. You know, you had your open town halls and you got to say what you wanted to say. And I know that municipalities and mayors have been meeting with the province. The region meets with the province. I never quite understood why we all don't meet with the province.
Right.
Representations from all parties as a united front meet with the province. But that didn't happen because I think everybody is on their own right, self-protecting themselves. And that's okay. But you've got two different plans that have been exposed. And one would be the One Niagara. But that's been around forever. That whole
What's
concept.
That? What is that?
That's One Niagara. No municipalities, kind of like how Toronto amalgamated.
So that would mean that there'd be no Wainfleet Township.
None of the smaller municipalities within the Toronto core lost their name per se. So
right.
There's still Wayne Township of Wainfleet, but it's One Niagara. So to the benefit of all constituents with one mayor. That kind of
one mayor.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the One Niagara approach, and I'm not going to go into detail because I'm not familiar with the whole concept of it.
But that's been around for a while.
But it's been around for a long, long time. So there's a real push for that. And then I think just recently they came out with the Four City. So Four City, and that was put out by Niagara Falls.
Four City?
Four City. So going by the provincial boundaries. So north, south, west, and east, similar to what the provincial boundaries are.
Gotcha.
Which would mean then you'd have Welland, Port Colborne, and Thorold together. I don't know where West Lincoln and Wainfleet fit into that. I would think that. South would be separate. Yeah. St. Catharines, of course, on their own. Niagara Falls, on their own. Right. So I guess what concerns me about that is I'm always looking out for the people, right, and representation. Because when you let big government take over, which is not something that I believe in, nor is a conservative ideology or value. So I'm a little confused about all of that. I get the cost savings that will occur.
Right.
I'm fully for that. But when you take away representation of the people, we're going to have a real problem.
Yeah.
If we expect bureaucracy and bureaucrats to do what's best for all of us, that's concerning to me. So I agree that 32 councillors is a bit much for Niagara. Absolutely.
So having a voice, is there too many voices? Or
you can never have too many voices, but when the taxpayers are looking at it, then of course they're looking at the salaries of 32 people.
Right.
And we've been through a rigmarole the last few weeks about that. But let's say we delete it down to one councillor per area. So we cut it in half.
Okay.
The reality is that becomes a full-time job now. And a full-time job means full-time salaries.
Right, so you're not saving.
I don't see how you're saving.
Right.
I don't get that. So, because no one, I don't think, will be able to handle that load. I'm busy every night of the week, every day of the week with something.
You're a busy person.
I am, because I take the role very seriously. And so when somebody asks for something, I do what I can to help them.
Yeah.
I answer my emails. I answer my texts. People have my phone number. They'll call. So I never ignore anything like that. It's important to me. It's the reason that I'm here. It isn't to be a politician. It's to be a public servant. So, and I take that very, very seriously. And I feel so honored.
There's not a doubt in my mind about that either.
I feel honored to be in that position. So
yeah.
I intend to try to make the best of this opportunity to be able to help as many people as I can over the next 4 years. Because I don't know where I'm going to be in 4 years from now.
Yeah, of course.
So I just hope that people remember when they're saying, well, get rid of the region. The region is probably not going anywhere. That's the reality, okay? Because there's just too much involved with the region. They handle way too much that municipalities couldn't possibly probably handle.
Right.
I'm not going to say they can't. I'm just saying it's a lot.
There is efficiencies at the region,
absolutely,
for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. So if they can find a way to amalgamate the most important cost, things that cost the taxpayers the most. So you had Niagara Regional But the fire services are all local municipalities. So that would be one maybe to integrate into the region.
Right.
You know, I've noticed lately, public health, for example, Pastone went into each of the municipalities.
What's that?
Wonderful thing. That's the mental health clinic for youth. And they are now in, I think, almost every municipality. Part-time, a couple days a week maybe, you know, all day long, because that's about all that we can afford. But what, I don't know if many people, you know, really caught on to this, but basically the municipalities are paying for that. So we're kind of going in reverse. We're downloading onto the municipalities for that cost when public health is a regional issue. So that's a bit concerning to me. I just see many different things happening and going in a direction that we probably should not be going in, but time will tell. Time will tell. So I'll just keep fighting the fight.
So, but talking about amalgamation, it sounds like it's a difficult thing because if, like you said, if you go from 32 part-timers to 16 full-time, there's no cost efficiencies there.
I don't believe that there will be.
And one of the things that comes to my mind when you, I don't know what the right answer is, but the first thing that comes to my mind when you have 32 people part-time, that means that those people are spending their time doing something else. So to me, these are more people because they've got lives going on instead of just a devotion to something and distance, just what I'm hearing, distancing themselves from everyday people. I don't know.
Oh, see, I disagree.
Oh, nice.
I disagree on that because the people that are around that table are people that are extremely involved in their communities, that have their own businesses. Those are people that are very connected to their community. That's what we want. Or do we want career politicians sitting behind the desk? Those are the people that may be, you know, a distance from the everyday.
Yeah.
So I see it very, very differently. I think once we change that
and
it becomes a full-time job at whatever amount of salary, you're going to see people popping out of the woodwork to want that job.
Yeah.
So that maybe for the wrong reasons.
I think maybe I said it wrong. That's why part-time is good because they spend part of the time working on it and the other part doing whatever.
In the community.
So then that creates a good balance. Now,
agreed.
I don't think that you could cut it down to 16 part-timers then. That wouldn't...
I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know what...
I've never been to a council meeting. I've only caught maybe an hour of a stream before and seen, and I like to catch the ones in Wainfleet. What I found when I was watching the one regional one was it took a long time for anything. Like I didn't get through much when I watched in an hour.
Well, we've had meetings that go till 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. There's
a lot of people to say something, like comment on something. That takes a long time.
It does, and regional council is supposed to be efficient. We have committees, several committees, so public health, public works, audit committees, Niagara Regional Housing, all the different committees that people budget, that sit on. And so we all kind of choose or are elected by our peers, our regional council peers, to sit on particular committees that maybe we are A, passionate about, and B, maybe have some experience in.
Right.
So we do that. And so on top of just a regular regional council meeting or a committee of the whole meeting or a budget review meeting that we all attend, we all have committees that we attend during the week also. And in those committees is where we grind it out. Do you know what I mean? Where we kind of debate one another, where we come up with solutions, where we figure out what budget would be required to efficiently run that. And so when we go to regional council, you've got all that information in front of you. So a regional council package would be, I think my last one was about 783 pages long. So I don't know how many people sit there and read every single page. They might read what's kind of important to them or whatever. I would say the majority of people do. I know I do. Some things I understand, some things I don't. And I ask questions. I turn to the staff right away and gosh, they're probably sick of me by now, but I love the staff at the region. They are fantastic and so supportive. And if I ask for something, they get me an answer like almost immediately.
That's amazing.
And they're able to explain it in plain English, you know, so that I understand. I come from the streets, basically. I don't come from a political background per se. Yeah. So, and the people I'm speaking to need to understand it also. So I need to understand it before I can explain it.
Exactly.
So we trust our committee members. But there are often things that we'll see that were passed at a particular committee, whether it be audit, whatever the case may be, and someone will pull it and ask questions and say, "Oh, this doesn't make sense," and it'll kind of jog us to say, "Yeah, that doesn't." Yeah, we need to know more information before we pass something like that. But if you don't go through that and pull that from the agenda, it gets passed in bulk. So often a lot of things are passed in bulk.
Really?
But I find that this council is very conscious of that. Very conscious
That's
of
good.
that. So when I hear people say, "Oh, same old at Regional Council," no. This is a very dedicated group of people who read line by line and are, will pull things and anything that's concerning to the taxpayer, they'll pull out of there.
So at a meeting, is it, because I've only attended Wainfleet once.
Yeah.
Topics get brought up, and sometimes they vote on them, sometimes they defer them. Is the council regional meeting the same thing?
It's pretty much the same thing, but it's laid out, so you have to follow the guidelines. So it can be, a motion can be brought forward to ask for it to be deferred, but of course the entire council has to agree with that. So something that may be there to come to a vote that evening certainly doesn't have to be voted on that evening. It can be deferred. And or referred to council or to staff for more information. Yeah.
Is there, like in Wainfleet, there's a mayor? Does the region have something like that?
We have the regional chair, Chair Bradley.
Chair.
Yeah.
So that's the head of
the region.
So is there 32 plus him, or
it's 32 including him? Yeah.
Including. So when there's a vote, it takes about a minute or two to count everybody. Like saying yay or nay?
Well, it's electronic. So that's something new this term.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's before, and I used to watch Regional Council, only really, really important, or what they consider to be very important or controversial maybe, votes were electronically voted. I find that we ask for electronic votes on pretty much everything we vote on now. So 90% of it anyway. So everything is quicker, documented. No? It's quicker, but it's also documented. So people can go back and look and see how your councilor voted, which, I have no problem with that at all.
It's interesting, right? Yeah, I see. Yeah. I've noticed that. I think I've seen that once, because I'm all new to all this stuff, but once at a Wainfleet where there was a vote and somebody, I don't know if it was a motion or what, that they wanted the vote documented. Yeah. And I was like, holy, like, what? I'm like, something important just happened there where somebody wanted to make sure this was on record.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I didn't, like, I don't, all of it's new to me. So I just figured it's all on record, but I'm like, no, this really means it's on record.
It's written, it's in record, like in the minutes, but how many people actually go back and read council minutes?
Right.
The regular citizen, I think I'll, some light reading for the evening, I will check out Wainfleet Council meeting. So no, it doesn't, most people don't, but when it's an electronic vote, then the press that are there will take a photo of the board of the electronic vote, and that's what they'll put, on social media, and so it's there, it's in black and white, so you
and that can be good and bad.
Well, you know what? I don't think it's not bad,
right?
Because people have different views on things, and I respect everybody's views around that table because I respect each and every one of them for the value that they bring. We don't always agree on things, and that's okay. But I can tell you every single one of them can back up why they voted the way that they did.
Do you think that this is very interesting, what I find about politics.
Yeah.
I think life, but politics for sure, is that you have to sit across the table from people that something very passionate you can completely agree on and something else completely disagree.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I think makes a good person, a good politician, anything, is that you can continue to work together past those things you don't agree on.
Yeah.
But not everybody's like that. So I think that's what...
Do you want to know what's so unique about this council, and I keep tooting this council, is I didn't know what I was getting into with Regional Council, right? Because it was, some might say it was a bit partisan in the past. And I was concerned that because I'm a conservative, I might be treated differently or...
Labeled or...
labeled ahead of time. And I may have been going into it, but I have been treated with nothing but respect from all parties around the table.
That's awesome.
And given the opportunity to vote the way that I want to, by conscience and by my, facts and by values. So I had a misconceived notion of what it was going to be like, and it's very pleasant.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good to hear.
It really is. No one around there, around that table, will I say is partisan in any way, shape, or form. So they all have their beliefs, and they bend a little bit here and there. Sometimes we have to.
Right.
And not because we want to sometimes, but because, for example, a lot of things that have come before us have been legal issues, which I can't talk about, but they've been legal issues. And a lot of people don't understand maybe why we vote the way we do, but all they need to kind of understand is that the law is the law.
Right.
Right? So
can't vote against that.
I in that case, and that's why I say sometimes people might not agree with how I vote, but at the end of the day, if I was to possibly vote otherwise, and there was an opportunity to be sued, it isn't the region that gets sued. It's you and me and every taxpayer in Niagara that are being sued because we're paying for it.
Right.
So it's that catch-22. Like, I'm caught in the middle of all of it. But at the end of the day,
right.
I have to follow the law because that's just the kind of person that I am. So
I feel you.
I get you.
What has been maybe the most interesting, or I don't know if I say interesting, passionate, controversial, I don't know, what like topic or voting, like...
Yeah, I mean, every day is interesting. I can't say...
Has there been like a big one, or maybe some, because I don't really even know.
Some of the ones, I mean, because we kind of came in midstream and we were really behind on the budget for 2018.
What do you mean behind?
Behind because we went in December and we didn't really even start to do the 2019 budget. We were very late in doing that.
Gotcha.
So now we're heading into budget review for 2020. So I think I'll be better able to answer that at that time, because there are certain things on the table that, long-term care, I'm passionate about.
Right.
We've had a lot of cuts by the province to affordable housing. So again, very passionate about that. So we're kind of juggling money just to make sure we can make ends meet for social services that are so very important.
Right.
So, but there's a program in Niagara Falls, and it's $22 million affordable housing program, of which, development fees, for example, $14 million from the region goes towards that. So this is not at a cost to the taxpayer. So the province kicked in, the feds kicked in, and our development fees kicked in. So it was a beautiful union.
What is it? What is this?
It is, I'm not sure exactly how many units it is, so I shouldn't comment on
That's
it.
fine.
But yeah, it's got an affordable housing component to it. So
this is a new development?
Income, yes.
And there's a developer?
Yes.
A private developer?
Yes.
And there's going to be breaks on development charges to help keep the costs down?
Well, every development that happens in the Niagara region gets charged a development fee.
Yeah.
And that money goes into kind of like a fund.
Yeah.
So what I was really happy to see, and that I'm not just saying affordable housing, any development in Niagara. Mm-hmm. So it goes into that fund. And what I was really happy to see is that they're using that funds towards affordable housing. So
what are they, like, towards what?
Well, it's a $22 million project, right, that we don't want the taxpayers to be on the hook for, obviously. Right. So $14 million from development fees that have been accumulated through development in Niagara is going towards that project. And the rest is being made up by the provincial and the federal government. So I just want to say that because a lot of people think, affordable housing is costing you and me and everybody. This particular project in Niagara Falls is not.
So the developer is going to get to utilize some of that money.
That's correct.
Yes. And it's going to help keep the costs lower.
That's correct.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. That is cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And do you know if it's going to be like a condo or townhouses?
Townhouses, I believe.
Nice. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's in the pipeline now.
Yep.
What about, we can't not talk about tiny homes?
I love tiny homes.
Yes.
I love the concept. The concept to me of tiny homes after especially visiting Detroit. I visited Cass Community Center in Detroit.
Right.
And met with the genius behind it all, Reverend Fowler, just a beautiful woman.
Right.
Who saw a need, obviously. Now, Detroit was very hard hit, so we're not comparing the two by no means. Everybody left Detroit. All businesses left Detroit. So what was left was homelessness in Detroit. So there was a dire need there to house people. The concept is what intrigued me the most, is that she didn't follow the normal the normal route. She wanted to put dignity back into housing, back into not so much home. She does take people, homeless people, as well as she has a component where people that are coming out of jail, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So she does things a little differently than, it wouldn't fit our model here,
right,
per se. But the actual overall model really intrigued me because it was a community. So these homes range from 250 to 500 square feet. They're immaculately done.
Yeah.
When I was there, General Motors was there, Ford was there. Big people that pulled out of Detroit and left Detroit kind of high and dry.
Right.
Have put back into building these communities for people. So
they've donated some money or resources?
And resources, yeah.
Really?
Money and resources, yeah.
Really?
Yep.
So how many houses-ish is there, like?
She's on her first community project, and I think there are 25 to 28 homes in that community. So
nice.
It's just like any other community. Like I drove in here to your beautiful area.
Yeah.
It would be driving into the same thing. It would just be tiny homes.
Yeah, small houses.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's got those up, and like, is it? Because one of the things that I was enlightened on when I was talking to Grant about it, one of the challenges he was talking about was development charges.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He said this is a tough thing because. So I'm getting educated on the whole topic,
mm-hmm.
and when I brought it up with him,
mm-hmm.
he had some good points. He's like,
mm-hmm.
development charges are not cheap. It's the same thing,
mm-hmm.
whether it's a big house or a little house.
That's right, $30,000 on average.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's not cheap.
It is. Yeah.
So he's like, this makes it harder
uh-huh.
on the tiny homes, and he also was talking about some of the challenges with
the
zoning and the land costs. He
mm-hmm.
said, okay. And I get it too. Like I've seen the Facebook ads, tiny home for $20,000. Okay,
mm-hmm.
but now where do you put it?
Well, this is it. That's great that we can have these built. That's wonderful. And I want to just say that I'm just so excited. I'm working with Niagara College and their project for 2019. It's 90% guaranteed here. Is to build a tiny home, a prototype for us.
Really?
Yes. So
that's amazing.
I can say it here. I hope I can say it. But we're working on that now. Our challenge is, within their department, like within their where they build stuff, we can only go, I believe, 13 feet wide because that's all the space they have. So we're trying to find a plan that's going to fall into that. We may have to kind of create our own plan or kind of alter a plan that we already have. So we're in the process of working on that now. So, but I am working very closely with Colin and James from Niagara College. And I'm really excited about that, like really, really excited about it. So I hope I could say that now. But anyway, I just did. So, yeah, so let's, knock on wood. As I said, it could fall through for whatever reasons, but as it stands right now, we're looking forward to doing that.
So if you're working on designing a home, this sounds like step one of a lot of steps.
Yes, there's a lot of steps. Yeah, I'm working with Habitat for Humanity also because they play a big role in holding mortgages, right? So it's very difficult.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's very difficult to get a mortgage on anything that's under 850 square feet.
Yeah.
So, and people have to own the land as well as the fixture, as well as the home. So this is the tricky part of all of this because this program is kind of a lease for own situation. So
which program?
The one we're working on. So it's very complex, and I won't go into it in detail until it's all ironed out. It's step by step by step, but there are many factors involved in this. So
I understand that too because I've been through some of the wartime houses that are. I've run into it at 600 square feet around there, whereas when financing starts to get a little tricky,
and that's where Habitat comes in because they're the mortgage holder.
Right.
So I've had meetings with them, and it's all looking like one way or another, they're going to be working with us. So that's key. Yeah. So this whole land thing, surplus land, that's up to the city, right? And they don't give land away, and I don't expect them to give land away. So, working with Habitat, working with Open Arms Mission, we're working towards softening up the city a little bit and seeing what we can do together. That's the key.
Let me throw out something.
Sure.
Tiny home utopia. For this to work, we have to have the land and the houses. And would it work better with owning the land or leasing, because both have challenges. If you lease the land to the owner, it makes it a little bit more expensive, maybe. If they buy it, they need more capital to buy it. Like it's a tough thing. But what's the working towards that?
Well, working towards it, I mean, for us, the ultimate goal is that eventually they will own this home.
Yes.
Okay? Because the key is, and I don't even like to say affordable housing, I kind of call it continual housing.
Yeah.
So we've got all these folks...
Can I interrupt? I love the idea too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I just recognize the challenges.
The challenges. Oh, they're huge. This is 2 years I've been working on this. And in all fairness, it goes back to 15 years ago when we started working on it. I just called Kevin Gibson from Electric Video, because he did a video 15 years ago for me on this type of project.
Really?
Right? Not defining tiny homes per se, but defining the challenge that we have in affordable housing. So, and he made a video for us in our organization back then. And weirdly enough, I texted him last night and he said, "Hey, long time no see." And I said, can you dig through your archives and see if you can find that video we made? Because it was made to, I forget, what's the singer? Jackson is the last name. I don't know. Anyway, it was These Two Hands. I don't know if you've ever heard of that song. And I swear every time it was just and it was all about Welland. It was like we went around and videotaped different areas in Welland. And so just to look at it 15 years later is going to be really interesting. Just to show that, I mean, this thought is not new to me and to many others that are working on it. We've had this for a very, very long time. But it's difficult when you're not in government to get the voice, like to get the ears of people. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I have the same thought, the same passion, the same ideas that we did way back then. But now I'm in a position where actually people are willing to meet with me, which is just so wonderful. Do you know what I mean? Just for the
voice
sheer
is louder.
And the voice is louder. Exactly. Right. And people tend to listen a little bit. Yeah. So if I don't take advantage of my 4 years now in trying to...
It's a good time to try to
it's a good time to at least try. So A for effort in trying, because I don't stop. I mean, there's always a meeting, with somebody somewhere, somehow, trying to get people on board. So... so far, it's been successful in winning people over to the
progress,
idea. Yeah, exactly. There's progress there.
Yeah, that's good.
But to stress the importance, I mean, you've got homelessness, which technically, in a lot of cases, is chronic. And I've met with people. I'll get a call, for example, and say there's, someone underneath Prince Charles Bridge or whatever, and I'm very concerned about them. I will get my cart and I will go and I will talk to people.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. It is, but generally speaking, they're comfortable. I've had the cases where people needed help, and we've gotten them help. And I have to say a shout out to Niagara Regional Housing, to Donna, who leads up Niagara Regional Housing, and to Adrian Jugley, the commissioner.
I don't even know what this organization is.
Well, that's Niagara Region. Those are the people at Niagara Region. Who Niagara Regional Housing? Yeah, they house people. That's what they do. The mandate is to house people. So there are emergency situations, and they will do everything they can to get help to those people as soon as I call, which is just so wonderful.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it doesn't go the way we would like it to go. We can find them somewhere to go. We can get them into a shelter, and then they leave. And trying to understand the dynamics of it, I'm not a professional. I don't understand that. Those folks, a lot of them have addiction problems or suffering from some kind of mental illness. Right. So we're not addressing the issues that put them there to begin with.
Right.
And until we do that, I don't know that we're ever going to be able to help
Just giving them shelter doesn't solve the problem.
It's not going to solve the problem.
Yeah.
But what will help along the way is you've got these shelters that are over capacity. We don't have enough shelter space for people.
In Niagara.
I can only speak to Niagara.
Yeah.
So we don't have enough space. We do have some funding going into that in the 2020 budget that's coming forward. It's not a lot, but it's something that will help. And then you've got the wait list for social housing, for affordable housing. It's sometimes 10 years long.
Really?
Like, seriously, how difficult must that be for someone at Niagara Regional Housing to say, yes, of course, I'll put you on that list. Well, how long of a wait? You kind of might expect months or maybe even a year. And the answer is 10 years, sometimes 15 years. For single
15
one
years.
bedrooms, up to 15 years.
15 years.
And that's what got me. 15 years for a single one bedroom? Come on, there's a better way to do this. There's got to be. So if we can build this community and it catches on all over Niagara, because I truly believe that it will, it's a win-win situation because we can move those people from social housing that now have kind of gotten things together, maybe gotten a job, are back on track again. Because again, remember, social housing isn't meant to be a lifelong thing. This was meant for assistance at a time when you need it. So there are people that now are in a position maybe that they can leave, but they can't afford rent. They can't afford $1,200 rent. They cannot afford to get a mortgage. What do? They stay there because they've got nowhere else to go. And the people that have said to me, I want to go. I want to start a life. Well, that's where the tiny homes community comes in, because you can move those people that are ready now into a tiny home, and they can afford that very easily. Not only can they afford it, they can afford to save, so that when they've outgrown that particular situation, they can move now with money they've saved for a down payment on a home that would have normally been going to crazy rent. Yeah. They can now afford to put a down payment on a house.
It's amazing.
You move people out of social housing. You now move people from shelters to social housing. And now you've got open spaces in shelters where we can now try to help these chronic situations. To me, it's continual. But there's that gap. And it's missing. And people get stuck. And it's getting bigger. And people are stuck in social housing for ever and ever and ever because they have nowhere to go.
Yeah. The 2 cents I can put here, too, is the gap I see is really got bigger. I started in real estate 6 years ago. Yeah. I don't know the hard number of how much real estate has appreciated in Niagara since then. Yeah. But it's safe to say 50% plus, maybe even 100%.
Easy.
So
and that's only in 10 years.
It was 6 since I've started.
Yeah, exactly.
10 years. Yeah. Yeah. Because just to kind of pan back when I started 6 years ago, it was a buyer's market and prices were pretty flat. Yeah. They were increasing, but before when I started, the whole Canada average was about 3% going up per year. Yeah. And it felt like when I started, it was about that. Because I had clients in my first year that sold their house for the same thing that they bought it for a few years before. Right. And they actually lost money because of commission and fees and everything. Yeah. I don't know how long ago it was now. 2 years ago when the prices skyrocketed. Yeah. Insane. Yeah. And when I often have people say to me, how do people afford it? Mm-hmm. Well, anybody that did own real estate before the boom made a whole bunch of money.
That's right.
But the people that didn't are people that didn't own. Right. So what I see is anybody that's not in the real estate market, it got a lot harder around here.
It did. And the changes in the federal government for first-time home buyers, it made it almost impossible to meet any kind of matrix, right? Right.
So when people say to me, who's buying? First of all, what I say is people that are buying are people that owned before. Mm-hmm. And people that are buying now, there's people that are getting help from people that owned before.
Absolutely.
But there's people that don't have those resources. So that's why I encourage people. People say to me, when's the right time to buy? I say as soon as you can. Mm-hmm. Because once you're in the real estate market, you're protected by it. Even if it goes down and you have to sell, as long as you're buying again, you buy low, you sell low. Right. Sell and buy. Right. It's the same thing when the market.
Investments, of course.
Because you're protected either way. When the market was on fire, people are like, I want to sell my house and make $100,000. I'm like, great,
where
but now,
it's you're gonna spend that.
Yeah. So, but who got hurt the most from it was anybody that didn't buy before. Like I'm working last night till almost midnight with first time buyers. Yeah. They're spending almost $400,000 on their first house. Yeah. It's insane. Yeah. I sold houses when I first started under $100,000 just a few years ago. Yeah. Okay, the houses are different, but still, they're finding. I don't think there's a house under $100,000 anywhere around here. No, I don't think so. Anymore. Not even land. Like I just sold a lot around the corner from here for almost $200,000.
That's crazy. So I mean, there's that whole generation, our younger generation, that are feeling kind of helpless. They're making okay money, but they can't afford.
Yeah.
To buy a house.
So tiny
and they
homes
don't even want to. A lot of them don't even want to. Right. A lot of them want to live a simple life. The more people I talk to of that, they're like, you guys are crazy. Like you're house slaves. Like seriously, like
right.
why would you want to do that?
Right.
Be beholden to a mortgage. Like they think we're crazy
right.
that we did that. And I try to explain, well, we weren't, because we bought houses for $120,000,
right.
$130,000. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my house, for example, was my equity, my ability to go back to school.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I just happened to be one of those lucky ones that
yeah.
bought 10 years ago and sat on it and ended up being able to use it to my
yeah.
advantage. But it's all in timing. Do you know what I mean? But you think about our parents. I remember my mom and dad telling me that they bought their house for $40,000. They sold it for like 200 and something thousand. So to them, that was a big deal back, selling
Huge.
20 years ago, right? But when they bought 50 years ago, they bought it for like 40,000. To them, that was huge.
Yeah.
So 400,000 is huge to these people.
Huge.
I just don't see that it'll ever be that we're going to see another 50% hike in
not that short of time, I don't think.
But maybe in 20 if they hold on long enough. But I don't want to live in a world where a house like that is, 600,000-700,000. I don't want to. I mean, that's just insanity.
It's going.
We'll crash.
It's going that way, though.
Then we're in big trouble, because we all know what happens when that happens, right? So take advantage of it while you can, Joe.
Well, yeah. Well, for me, even if the market crashes, there's people still going to be buying and selling.
Absolutely. Well, I'm in real estate law, that. So no, I get it.
What I see with the real estate market is, since the beginning of time, it's always gone up.
Yeah.
But it goes through dips.
Oh yeah.
Dips. When you look at the market, you could look at it over a year. You could look at it daily, hourly. It's like anything.
Changes all the time.
Yeah, it definitely goes through dips, and of course we're going to see a downturn that's going to sting at some point. Mm-hmm. But I think it'll recover. It's just how long, and what's going to happen when it goes down.
That depends on leadership, Joe.
Yeah.
We need good leadership that guides us through those times.
Right.
Yeah. That's key.
So some of the things that I see when we're just talking about Niagara with real estate goes up. I think it's as simple as when there's more people than like supply and demand.
Supply and demand, like in any business.
So the interesting thing that I see, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I see is it definitely seems like families are getting smaller.
Yes.
So
not even having children, some of these younger generations.
I'm 36, haven't had a child yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure there's Dutch families in this community that had 8 children by the time they're my age.
Exactly. Yeah.
So with families getting smaller, but if we're just talking Niagara or anywhere, as families get smaller, we tend to supplement those people with bringing other people in and attracting people. Mm-hmm. So even if families get smaller, it seems like populations, I think, I haven't checked, but populations around the world must be going up still. I think so. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't comment.
Yeah, but I imagine. So that means less real estate, more people. So that's to me, as long as overall, if you step back, if the population is going up across the planet, real estate prices go up because there's less of it. Now, of course, you got to start exploring areas where there aren't houses, but if it keeps going up, there's only so much land. That's what it's the old saying that people say, that you can't make more new land.
Well, this is it. That's probably one of our our greatest resources, right? So.
Yeah, but I like the tiny home thing because you can certainly make affordable houses in small areas and
if it's done right.
Yeah.
And again, that's why I'm very meticulous in taking our time and doing this.
Can I ask, is there like a goal number to try and have it like 100,000 and less, or like?
Oh yes, it's definitely under 100,000 is the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first started, we were looking at 60,000, but it's just with the development fees, it's just not even feasibly possible unless they give us some hint, Welland, give us some reprieve on that. But the problem with that is when you get a reprieve, it's really the taxpayers that are reprieving. So I'm trying
What's
to
a reprieve?
avoid
I don't even know.
Getting a deal
on land or on like development charges.
On
or
development
both?
charges, yes.
Yeah, because development charges get paid to the city and to the region.
That's correct. Well, that's a whole other. There's duplication that I don't understand, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, try being a person who's building something. I have a friend who's building an auto shop, repair shop. Maybe I got that wrong, but it has to do with automobiles.
Right.
In Fort Erie, and the development fees from the city are astronomical.
Astronomical.
And then you go get nabbed with another, 9,000-10,000 from the region. I mean, that's hurtful. And I don't understand. I get it. It's a money generating revenue base, blah, blah, but it's difficult. It hurts. And
we need businesses.
We need business, right?
We don't need to make it harder.
No.
If I completely agree. I don't know any answers, but with businesses, it's getting started is the hardest part.
Absolutely.
So
First 5 years, right?
First 5 years.
Yeah, that's what they say if you survive.
Yeah, if there is some leeway and if they can go a long time, you can make a lot of money from somebody that survives than just gorging them in day one.
Oh, absolutely. And think about the people they employ. And
yeah, exactly.
Giving
There's
that,
so much
spending the money in the community.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The spin-off is tremendous. There's, that's a view that's shared by many. So
I like it. What next? Tico? Do you want to go to Tico? I seen you post something.
Yes,
that was pretty cool.
Yes, it was cool. I've owned Rose City Travel for 30 years. December will be 30 years.
Nice.
So,
congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Made it through the first 5 years times 6.
5 years, 10, and then, we had Tico went, our compensation fund went bankrupt. We had Carousel Tours go bankrupt, Conquest Vacations go bankrupt. Over my lifetime, there's been huge bankruptcies. People left stranded all over the place. It's a very stressful job when, as a travel agency owner, when those things happen, because I take, again, that to heart. And I remember, I'll tell a quick story. I had just bought the travel agency, so it was like 1989. And you have to have so much in your own fund, basically bonded in the event of an emergency, right?
Right.
So, and thank God that we did. We never got our license had we not. So it was, I believe, 30,000 that you have to have kind of in a trust account, basically just sitting there,
in case.
Right. So I remember coming into work. It might have been a year that I was not even
owning the business.
Yeah. And I remember waking up that morning, and I was driving into work, and on the radio, it was talking about a company that went bankrupt. Now, to the average Hojo, they never even would have recognized this company, but I did because I had just booked a student group going out March break that morning on this particular company. The company's name was Nirvana Holidays, and it was Acapulco, and it was a high school group that were going away. So it was one of my first big groups. So I remember...
How big?
It was 30 some odd people.
Going to Mexico.
Yes.
Wow.
So you can tell, because Acapulco hasn't been in the limelight for a very long time. So it was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And I remember just getting into the office. It was like 7:30 in the morning. And I think I shed a few tears because I thought, what is the right thing to do? Because the reason we have TICO, which is the Travel Industry Council of Ontario, is to protect the consumers. It's an extremely important thing. It's very rare. Quebec has their own kind of organization, but this is an Ontario organization. So we are blessed in Ontario to have that consumer protection. Mm-hmm. And I remember, as I said, after shedding a few tears and thinking, what am I going to do?
Because I was just starting a trip.
Right. They were leaving, and I knew I was going to get a call at any moment from the airport. So I went in.
They
early.
were leaving that day?
Yes. The flight was at 10 a.m. Mm-hmm. So I had to gather my thoughts. Really, gather my thoughts. So talk about being thrown into the fire. Like, this was a great way to start as a business owner. So I remember sitting there and getting on the phone with the other agent in our office and saying, okay, like, get in here. Let's figure out what we're going to do with this. Because TICO would cover them. So that was a non-issue. Okay, they would get the majority of their money back.
The people that booked their trip.
That's correct.
Right.
But here's my moral conscience coming in. These students have been looking forward to this all
year. They want to go on the trip. They don't want their money back.
They don't want their money back.
Yeah.
It's the morning of March break. There's no space. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do?
Right.
So we got on the phone to Alba Tours at the airport, actually, and said, do you by any chance have any space going to Acapulco? And they said, well, you caught us at a good time. We do have some space left on the plane. And I said, well, what hotel? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, in a matter of about 45 minutes, this other agent, which I'll shout out Lorraine Rutledge. What a saint. She probably is like, if she's listening, she'll be like, oh gosh, I tried to forget that day. But anyway, she drove to the Toronto airport with a certified check in hand for Alba Tours, because thank God that flight wasn't leaving till 4 o'clock that afternoon or some, time after that. Met with the group to say, calm down, we've got you rebooked. Don't worry about a thing. Your flight's leaving at it's all done. Boom. But that check came from my office. I paid for that. That was your money? Right. So in the hopes that I'll file with the compensation fund and I'll get
the money
back, right? Because why not? That's why we have a fund, right?
And that's what that money is supposed to be for, is things like this.
That's correct. Well, it went bankrupt. Well, it went bankrupt. It basically, there was just too much. There was several bankruptcies at the time. It was rough, 89, 90. So they could only compensate so much. I think we got back $700 of $1,200 or something like that. So we took a hit big time. But I learned a big lesson. And that lesson was to do the right thing. Because in the end, where am I 30 years later? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I hadn't, what would have happened? If I had said to those kids, sorry, but we have the fund.
Take it up with Tico.
Head on home, I'll help you with that claim.
Here's a 1-800 number.
Which I had every right to do.
Right.
But
yeah, it's not your style.
I didn't start out that way, and I won't die that way. Let's put it that way. Yeah. So that's just, you know what I mean? And so I had the blessing of being in business still to this day. Thank God again. Tracy Wright, shout out. One of the best, again, partners that I could possibly have, who pretty much runs everything for me now. I just deal with accounting, but and our other agents that work for us are just fantastic. And they have the same work ethic.
Really?
Sometimes I wonder Tracy's even better than I am in that respect. You know what I mean? So Tracy, finding people like that, she dealt with you, yeah.
She was really good.
Yeah. She's awesome. She's beyond. She looks at everything as, as her own family, as if you were her own family.
She helped us with our honeymoon. I remember.
Yes.
I remember being on the honeymoon and still exchanging emails with her about stuff.
She doesn't stop. She does not stop.
I don't even know what time it was wherever, but she was... She's awesome.
But that's how we ran that business. I ran that business.
How did you meet her?
A friend, a client of mine said, I have a girl that's interested in joining the team, your team. Would you just meet with her? And I said, sure, of course I will, And I knew right away. That she had the same kind of work ethic.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievable.
Keeps the reputation of the agency. Do you know what I mean?
You're a trooper.
I would rather do it myself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Than risk the reputation of the agency. So to find someone like that has just been a godsend. So I can go off and do all this other crazy stuff that I do. I went back to school, you know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Regional Council. And that's because I have total faith that it's in good hands. So back to the whole TICO thing. So it is such a very important
and you're part of this now.
Well, I was asked by the ministry to sit on the board of directors for TICO, and I proudly accepted. It was probably one of the best things that could have ever
It's amazing.
happened. Yeah. So to be able to sit on the board from a travel agency point of view, and be able to have a say in legislation that protects not only you, the consumer, but protects us too.
Right.
Okay, there's, it's full circle, right?
Yeah.
We all need protection here because the onus a lot is on the travel agency. So we want to try to balance that a little bit. So to be able to be there to voice the concerns of the consumers, our clients, as well as from the perspective of owners and travel agents. There's no greater, gift that I could have,
It's amazing.
Of my career. So
if that Acapulco thing happened now, what would they be able to refund it?
Yeah, no, we're in great standing now.
Okay.
That was bad
luck. Timing.
That was just bad luck. That was like somebody above saying, here you go. I'm going to see if you got what it takes, And I hope
you made it through.
Yeah, are proud. So
yeah, for sure. So if that happened now, so sitting on the board, what are some of the things that you guys, like you're talking about protecting the consumer, like what, and the agents, what kind of things do you guys, like I don't even know.
I start next month, so I'll certainly come back and discuss it with
amazing.
you. Yeah.
So you have,
and I'm on the governance review committee, and I'm on the audit committee. So
gotcha.
So both things that
That's
I'm
awesome.
very interested in. Yes.
So do they meet like monthly or quarterly or?
I was told we would meet 7 times a year, but
gotcha. You'll see.
Sorry, boss, but I've got 3 meetings next month alone in August. So yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I have a great boss. Thank goodness.
Steve Nagy, good guy.
He's the best. Yes, he lets me live the dreams. So shout out to Stephen Nagy Law, because without him, I wouldn't be able to do all the great things that I'm allowed to do. So
that's awesome. Now with the travel agency too. 30 years, the industry's changed a lot.
Yes, it has. But I changed with it.
Yeah.
I did. You have to.
Yeah, you're good at adapting for
Well, you have to, right? And that's part of, good business, I guess. So when I started out, believe it or not, I was primarily corporate. So we had some of the big companies in town that we did their corporate travel for them. But at that time, the airlines were paying us 10% commission. So if I did a, $6,000 business class flight to wherever, I got $600 for 10 minutes of work, which was kind of insane to me, but that was the way the industry worked.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden, all the airlines kind of decided, maybe not together, because that would be collusion.
Yeah, price fixing.
Yeah, right. No, I'm not going to ever insinuate that. One of them came up with the idea, and they all followed suit, which meant we're not going to pay the travel agency's commission anymore. Not even
anymore.
Well, they cut it down to 5%, then 3%, then big fat 0. So when you saw going to travel agencies and you were charged a service fee, for example, it wasn't because they were trying to double dip you or something. It was because we're doing the work, we're booking your airline ticket for you.
Trying to get paid. Yeah.
And we just want to get paid for our work.
Yeah.
And the airlines aren't going to do it, so you've got a choice. Go online, do it yourself, or come to a travel agency, be protected, and let us do the work for you, and you go make money doing whatever you do. So we had to take the chance that by doing so, I knew we would take a dip with the internet. We knew that, and I was protected for that. So we went from, I would say, 70% corporate, 30% vacation, to now all of a sudden becoming the opposite. 70% vacation, 30% corporate. So that was back in the 90s, right? When that all happened. And then the boom of the internet, right? All these, selloffvacations.com, and everybody came on board, right? So I kept saying to everybody, people are going to go to the internet. That's just a fact. So we need to specialize in things. So what did I do? In the 90s, I became an ecotourism specialist. So I took groups to Costa Rica probably 4 or 5 times a year. And I guided these fantastic ecotourism. Yeah. And it was a hit. It was self-sustainable. It was great business. And then we started getting into riverboat cruising, which again, you're not going to just go book that on your own. You want to sit with an agent. You want to discuss all of that. You want their expertise. So we had to think of things that were required. I know.
A ton.
More so Tracy. I helped a little bit. She helped mostly.
You both, yeah.
So even just down to the Auto Europe, right? Your car rental or your train ride, and staying a little bit longer here and there. That requires expertise.
100,000,000%.
Or you could do it on your own and sit there at your computer for hours on end and possibly make a mistake and get your credit card charged and not get the services that
I would not be able to do it.
Well, because you're a professional, your time, and I always tell people, isn't your time better spent doing what you do best? Let me do what I do best. You're not paying me. You are not paying me to do that job. The tour company's paying me to do that. You're not paying any extra. So you can go sit there for 3 hours and do it yourself. Or you can let me do it and not pay me any more to do it. It's a no-brainer. No-brainer.
Easy.
Yeah. So we realized that we wanted to get into things that required our expertise more, which required our staff to constantly be upgrading themselves. So taking courses in cruising or Disney or riverboat cruising or whatever the case may be.
This is good business.
And then we got into, I think, in 2000, beginning of 2000, I was one of the first agents in the area to do destination weddings.
Really?
And we still are hopping. We do probably, between 5 to 10 a year. So
nice.
And we go to anything that's over 30 people. So you've got us there 24/7 to kind of fix things, and
And you're there helping?
Yeah,
you're not just there sipping margaritas. Not
I've
you.
never put on a bathing suit yet when I've gone to a destination wedding. I don't leave.
You are such a trooper.
Yeah, I'm a trooper. And Tracy's the same way. That's what's so fantastic about it. You know what I mean? So we'll go down the day before, sometimes maybe 2 days before, and we'll be there for the day of the wedding, and we'll come home the day after.
Right.
And this is not at a cost to the bride and groom. This is, we accumulate points in certain hotels with our bookings over the years. We use our own points. And that's what I love about Tracy too, is she could easily say, hey, that's like one of the benefits of being a child.
Yeah,
like,
I'm going to go
why
on
do I got to use my points for work? She doesn't. She thinks the same way I do, because the more we do that, the more we don't cost, our clients. We utilize what we've got, and we pay our own airfare down there because, of course, it's with an airline, American Airlines, Delta Airlines. It's not with the group going for 1 week. Mm-hmm. So we pay our own airfare. I mean, the agency will pay for Tracy to go down. And we take care of people.
It's amazing.
And that's, again, I attribute that to why we're around 30 years later. So, and I anticipate another 30 years under Tracy. So
I love it.
Yeah.
See, and I can imagine that there's a lot of travel agencies that didn't adapt and failed.
Yeah, there was a lot of closures. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure, because the roles changed. Like you said, when
it's all coming back again, though, now.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
To more people utilizing.
Yeah, it's nonstop.
Well, I got to say, so I'll give you anything that's, okay, if I was going to Calgary tomorrow to go see a buddy, I don't think I'd call you.
No, and we wouldn't want you to.
Right.
Why should you pay me $50 to book a simple flight to Calgary for you? I would tell you to go online and do it. I'd even walk you through it if it was your first time doing it. But I could never take your money because that's ridiculous.
But anything that involved a little bit extra, I 1,000,000% see the value. Like so it's funny because with me, I've gone on trips where I have gone to Calgary or whatever and not called. And I, like you say, probably maybe not help me. But anything that involves any planning, I need the help.
Well, absolutely. And I just want to stress, that it's not costing the client any more money. Not with Rose City Travel, because we do not charge a service fee on package bookings like that. We just do not.
It's amazing. It's the same.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's the same thing in real estate. When I work with buyers, it doesn't cost them anything either. Right. There's no fee. The sellers pay commission. Right. It's the same thing. If I sell you,
our businesses are very similar in that respect.
Yeah, and just like how you have TICO, we have RICO, Real Estate Council of Ontario.
It's very simple. It's designed the same. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
In line almost with even the Law Society. It's very similar rules. Really? Yeah, that we need to have trust accounts, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't understand your money. And I don't take cash. I haven't taken cash in years. I don't want cash. I'm a middleman. I prefer you pay by credit card and it goes directly to the tour company and I don't see your money. I don't want to see your money. I don't need to see your money. The tour company pays me after. When all is said and done, that money goes into my general account.
Same thing.
So I have a trust account sitting there. And that's governed by TICO. They are allowed in and out of that account. But a trust account is set up with cash from the public. And that's why TICO's kind of in place, because it's protecting that money. Because let's say I did take all cash. Okay, I'm not, there are agencies out there, obviously.
Of course.
That do that. And so if they've got hundreds of thousands of dollars in their trust account and then decide they're going to shut down for whatever reasons, and all of a sudden they've disappeared, that's why TICO was put in place, for that reason. This is a perfect example of times are changing. Credit cards cover lack of service, right?
Right.
I decided a long time ago, I'm not taking cash anymore. I don't want to put anybody at risk, and I don't want to put my business at risk.
Yeah, that's good.
So there's no chance of loss of whatever. At any point in time, I will never have $800 to $1,500 cash in that account, ever. So we say to TICO, well, why are we, paying all this money? Where's the risk factor there anymore? So times have changed. Mm-hmm. So we need to look at all of this from a perspective of all angles, from the consumer who's, covered partially by their credit card. Mm-hmm. Now, the credit cards at some point in time could say, hey, we're not your insurance company. We're not covering this. Mm-hmm. So it's been a win-win by having TICO in place. Because I think if TICO said, okay, well, we don't have to worry about that anymore because credit card companies cover that. At any point in time, a credit card company could say, hey, we're not your insurance company.
Right.
We're not dealing with it. So this is a win-win for everybody by having TICO be able to cover people. So it's an important organization, and more importantly, it's important for anyone booking travel, whether it be through a travel agency or not. Make sure it's a TICO registered travel agency.
How does somebody do that?
You ask them, are you a TICO registered travel agency? You can look them up. You can go on TICO's website, put in your city and put in the travel agency's name. If it doesn't come up on there, be very, very careful. No, you're not covered by anything.
I wouldn't want to book through a non-TICO.
Right. And we pay into it. That's what we do. We take a percentage of our gross sales, and it goes into this fund. That's how it's funded. It's funded wholly by travel agencies and wholesalers.
That are part of TICO.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
It's an insurance, right? So
right.
So have I, we don't have any choice. It's mandated by the provincial government of Ontario. And I would never want to see it in any way dissipate. It is an important function. It has been throughout my entire career in this industry. So,
but there are real estate agencies out there not with TICO.
Travel agencies?
Yeah.
They might not consider themselves a travel agency, but for example, somebody, and I think we had a situation in Fort Erie where a lady decided she was going to put together a cruise group. And so she took money and
I think I heard something
yes,
about this.
Exactly. And then it went defunct. Well, she wasn't a legal travel agency to begin with. So guess what? TICO didn't cover any of those people. So if your friend at work is saying, hey, I'm putting together a group or whatever, what agency are you working through?
Right.
That's a question you ask.
Right.
You don't just give money to Susie Joe, because she's putting together this fab trip. No, It doesn't work like that.
If I get 40 people, we all get $100 off. Let's do this, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it goes south and it's south.
And you're out of luck, right? So they ended up suing, and so did TICO, actually, because she wasn't registered. So
really?
TICO got involved. Yeah, absolutely. You cannot
so
do that.
was that illegal, what she did?
Absolutely.
Well, I don't even know what happened.
Yeah. No, she was charged.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know the details of it, but yeah, no, what she did was wrong. And that used to be common, where people would put together bus trips. Yeah, exactly. Don't do it because it's not, it won't fly anymore.
Not if it's you or Tracy, I'm not doing it.
No.
So.
Well, there you go. Thank you. We appreciate that.
So maybe some of your best and worst trips or places, whether it's for any reason, whether because it's most beautiful scenery or something that went really right or really wrong.
Okay.
Just some memorable, because you've been to a lot of places.
I have.
Like, okay, no, maybe before we go there.
Yeah.
Where's somewhere you haven't been that you want to go to? Is there anywhere left?
I would like to go to India.
India.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yes.
That's on my list too.
Yes. Tibet. Things like that.
Okay, so there are unexplored
very spiritual.
places.
I'm at that age. I'm old. I'm getting old. So to me, it's all about spirituality now.
In 30 years, you can tell me you're getting old. Not yet.
I'm getting old.
No.
I still have the energy though, so that's okay.
Okay, so some of the memorable.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my worst trip ever. Ever. Okay. Back in the day, the tour companies used to invite us. Obviously, if we can experience it, we can sell it better, right? And it's a win-win for everybody. Makes sense. That was the good old days when they used to do that.
That makes sense.
Yes, totally makes sense.
Yeah.
That's all changed.
Yeah.
So, my Transat rep, who I love, Chad, you're the best. He's still the Transat holidays rep. He said, you got to come to Nicaragua. We're going to Nicaragua. This is like 15 years ago. I said, I love Costa Rica, right? Because I was in the midst of the Costa Rica thing and Central America, and I just love it. I find it so peaceful. I had been to Panama and Costa Rica and Guatemala, and I just loved all of them, right? So I thought, okay, Nicaragua. I'll try Nicaragua, right? So, yeah. So we're all excited, a bunch of travel agents. We get down to Nicaragua. I don't even remember the name of the resort because I think that it's so traumatizing that it'll trigger me maybe. So I don't even remember the name of it. So we got there, and it was a very pretty resort. Don't get me wrong, right on the ocean, very Central American.
5-star?
Maybe 4-star.
Okay.
It wasn't a bad resort.
Okay.
Thatched roofs, my kind of place, right? I'm thinking, oh, this is fantastic, right? So maybe it's just bad luck, but a monsoon hit of some kind, like a major tropical storm. And we all had like these thatched roofs, right? Which are very picturesque, but certainly not
durable.
So I'm in my room, and this is all going down, and I just remember thinking, get me out of here. The water was up to my bed.
No
oh,
way.
yes.
So you were actually scared.
I was scared. So I remember saying to Chad, thank you very much, but I will pay for a helicopter to get me out of here. I'm not kidding. It was that bad. He said, just hang in there. You know what I mean? It's past. It's going to dry out. Everything's going to be good. We're going on this great boat tour on Lake Nicaragua. I said, okay, all right, I'll try. So we're on the bus, right, going to Lake Nicaragua, and the bus stops. And the Sandinistas or whatever they are down there, they get on the bus. They take the tour guide off the bus. I see some money being exchanged. And I'm like, get me out of this country. So he comes back on. Everything's good. It's all good. It's all good. Here we go. So we head on down to Lake Nicaragua. There is this little boat, this wooden boat, that I'll tell you, if they paid me $1 million, I would not have got on that boat. And I didn't. I stayed on the sidelines. I sat under a tree, and off they went on their little
rickety
boat trip. Little rickety boat trip. Something just said, don't do it, right? So they come back. Anyway, thank God it was only a three-day quickie trip. Next day, we're out of here, right? It was about a week later, maybe a month later, and somebody sent me an article from the Central American Times or something like that.
Right.
Something about a certain type of shark found in Lake Nicaragua.
No.
I'm like, yeah, and I've never been back to to Nicaragua, and I'm sure it's a beautiful country.
But that was a bad experience.
But that was bad, and that's a long time ago. So when I see it in the brochures, it's making a comeback now. Unless the government is stable, I'm not going. It's as simple as that. And it's still not stable there. So I steer clear of Nicaragua.
So what are some other countries like that? Is Cuba a place?
Cuba was and still is, but I've outdone it because we used to go twice a year on our Niagara Hits the Beaches group. I mean, we were traveling for $500, all taxes in. You know, not 5-star by no means, but we were groups of 40 to 80 people that would go twice a year to Cuba. We did that for the last, I would say, 6 or 7 years. And gosh, we had some great times and made some great memories.
I've never been there before.
It's a wonderful place. The people are just, outstanding. So, not a lot of corruption that goes on there. Everybody's just got big hearts, Some people don't even accept tips from you. They just are so happy that you're there. Yeah. So it's a culture that I absolutely love and enjoyed, but I've outgrown it, I guess. I'm done now with Cuba.
You've been there many times.
Many times. But my best trip was the one we just got back from. We went to China.
Oh, nice.
And
Who went?
There was 42 of us.
Wow.
And a lot of them were from the healthcare profession, actually. We just, one nurse talked to another nurse, so on and so forth. And next thing you know, there we are.
Tracy,
a big group. Tracy and I went. We went together.
Wow.
A couple of my good friends came also, and their kids, and their families. It was just a really great experience.
How long?
We were there for 9 days.
And where in China?
We went kind of north to south, so...
Yeah?
Yeah, we covered...
That's on my list, too.
Yeah, we started in Beijing, and we ended in Shanghai, and kind of everything in between we hit, so... We had a great tour guide. That's a different
culture, right?
Yeah, ask me how much we paid.
How much?
We paid $8.99,
what?
Including air.
What?
So if you do want to do that, you'll have to let me know.
What?
Yeah, a company called UTO Vacations. They work closely with the Chinese...
$900?
Yeah, they work closely...
For how many days?
9 days.
Okay, what was included? Sorry.
Okay, so we had our flight.
Yeah.
Included on, I think, Hinoyan Airlines, which is a Chinese charter company. Fantastic service. Fantastic. I was a little nervous because I couldn't even find them on the... I was looking at them. I'm like, Tracy, I don't know if they exist, But they do. And And they were great. I'm glad I didn't get nervous out about everything, with
Right.
everything happening with the governments and whatnot. That was right about the time we were going. We went in April, the end of April.
Right.
Some people backed out. They were really nervous about going. And Tracy and I said, let's just forge forward and let's just protect people. And
Right.
and better that we're there. And obviously, you know, we can make sure everybody sticks together and, you know, just sticks together. And we're going to be
Yeah.
okay, right?
So $900 flight.
Mm-hmm.
And then what about hotel?
That was our hotel.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Flight?
4-star hotels on the outskirts of town, not in downtown, but which was okay for us because it also included pretty much a tour every day. So
Tours were included in this?
Yeah,
What?
Yeah. But now here's the clincher with them, or the catch to it, because they work closely with the tourist board. There are what we call optional tours, which were about $400 for, you know, a bunch of additional tours, right? So if you didn't take the optional tours, which our whole group did, but let's just say you didn't take it, you were going to be thinking you were going to do stuff on your own. It just didn't work because you were on a tour with the group and you were in the middle of nowhere, sort of thing, right? So what were you going to do?
Right.
Were you going to take a cab back to your 2-hour away hotel and sit there and do nothing? Or were you going to just kind of be left to go out on your own?
Right.
It's set up for you to take those extra tours. Yeah. So that's I would recommend, obviously, that anybody that was doing that did. But, you know, for under $1,200, we were good to go. So
I didn't think it was possible to go to China for less than like $2-3
Call
grand.
Rose City Travel. We'll set you up.
I just didn't even know.
Do you know that I posted on Instagram like all my shots throughout the whole trip? It was just an absolutely fascinating trip. And a couple from Utah contacted me and said, can we call you? Because we're going, you know, with UTO to China in this fall. And we would just love to talk to you, you know? And I said, yeah, absolutely, call me. So on a Sunday afternoon, this couple were on speaker from Utah. And I was just going over the whole trip, and they were just so excited. Because everybody's all nervous, right? $8.99.
Yes.
Can't even imagine what it is in the U.S., right? And they're like, is this too good to be true? Is this like one of those?
It seems like it. If
It
it
was
wasn't you
wonderful.
saying it, I wouldn't believe it.
We took a chance, and I'm glad we did. Because it probably goes down as one of, if not the best trip I've ever had.
Wow.
Yeah. The shopping, to die for.
So are you going to do it again?
I was asked by another group of individuals if I would do it again in May, and I think I'll be planning, come the fall, I'll start planning a May trip again, yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to talk to Robin to see if we can put that together.
Just can't beat it.
Yeah, I still can't believe it almost.
True story. And it'll fill up quickly. Like, I think we filled up, as soon as we put it out there, we were sold out in like 48 hours.
What's full? How many can you do?
Well, what I wanted, I could do 10 if need be. But if I was going to go, I wanted my own bus. Right?
Yeah.
I wanted them to give me my own bus. I wanted to come and go as we pleased, as our group. I wanted my
love
own
it.
guide.
I love it.
Speaking.
Leanna style.
Oh, yeah, Leanna
I
style.
love
or
it.
I'm not coming. That's what we said. We're not doing it. You know, this is how it's going to be. So, and they did. They accommodated us, and it was just, yeah.
So
if we wanted to spend more time somewhere, like at the silk factory, for example, or the pearl factory, you know? And that's the other thing. Those optional tours, they take you to these places and, you spend. You spend. I'm sure they get commissioned. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's how they make up the difference, because it's done through the tourist board, right?
Right.
So I have no qualms telling people that. That's the reality of it. But do I love my pearls that I got? You're darn right I do. Do people love their bedding that they got? Their silk bedding? Yeah, they do. Do people, you know...
But it wasn't free. They bought it.
They bought and they loved it. They were great deals. We were right at the
amazing.
factories, right? So... we went to the Chinese Institute of Medicine, where we all sat there and got this foot massage thing going on, and then a doctor came around and like kind of read all of our palms and our earlobes and whatever, and would tell us what was wrong with us. Now, you could choose to believe him or you could choose not to believe him, but I can tell you, somebody very dear to me chose to believe and has had a very degenerative bone disease for many, many years. That's only been getting worse. And she listened to him, spent the money on... She's doing fantastic.
Really?
She hasn't been able to bend down and pick up something in years without pain. And she's doing great. So
That's
to each their
unbelievable.
own. To each their own.
Right.
Yeah. So there were people that didn't buy into it, and people that chose, that thought, what do I got to lose? Right? At this point, what do I got to lose? So that was a really interesting tour. I'm so glad that we got to do it. And then we spent something like 8 hours in the knockoff market in Shanghai, like our last day. Not enough time.
Really?
You could spend days.
Why?
There.
What's that all about?
Everything knockoff that you can imagine. Everything knockoff. Everything.
Did
for like
you buy
next
stuff?
to nothing. I did. I bought a couple things.
Why? Is this bad that you did? Is this a bad thing?
No, that's common. That's China, right? Whatever. They copy everything, right? And sell it for next to nothing. I don't know how
I
they
can't
do
even
it.
imagine.
Oh, crazy. Just crazy. The purses the ladies got, and running shoes, and you name it. I mean, I can't even describe it to you. It's just like, you just look around. Let's just put it, it's like in so many buildings. I don't know how many blocks this thing runs, but it's alphabetical. A. So any company that starts with A is
Like
in the A.
Adidas
Yeah,
and all this.
it's crazy. It's just insane. Insane.
Really? What city is this in?
That was in Shanghai.
Shanghai.
Yeah.
So if you do this again in May, would it be the same trip or a variation?
It would be the same trip. Now, we had people that stayed longer and went to Terracotta Warriors, which I would have loved to do, but I just didn't have that much time off work. But I think I would do my extension and stay.
I can't live my life without going on a trip with you.
Oh, well, you'll never do anything different again, because if nothing else, it's a good time. It's a good time.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm very stressed the whole time. I'm not a fun traveler per se, because I take the weight of the world on me, and I just want to make sure
hardcore.
I'm hardcore, yeah. If somebody isn't happy with their room, or their bed, or this or that.
Would you have a drink on a trip?
I don't even think I had a drink on that trip, no.
Well,
No,
like if I go, there's got to be a moment of enjoyment. There has to be.
I enjoy seeing other people
I
happy.
get that. I
Enjoyment.
get you. But a moment without the weight on the shoulders.
I think I was
At least
born
a moment.
with the weight.
I know. No doubt.
Some people are put on this planet for that reason.
No
I
doubt.
guess.
No doubt.
I'm okay with that. So yeah, there you have it.
I love it. I don't even know. What else we got here?
I don't know.
We went over region stuff, tiny homes, travel agent stuff. That's something like places. Is there any places people should not be traveling to now?
Well, China was on big. We're like in this big, but see, like, unless there's a ban on a country, like, there literally has to be a government ban.
Right.
So if you're booked to go somewhere,
Like
and
North
all of a
Korea.
sudden there's like a bombing or something,
Okay.
then a warning goes up on the Canadian government site. We strongly suggest you stay away, refrain from traveling to these areas. That's not good enough. You're not getting your money back. It has to say, we ban you.
Right.
We ban Canadians, from traveling to such and such and such and such. I have not seen a ban in my 30 years on any of the countries my clients travel to. It doesn't mean, my clientele here in Little Niagara is not the same as a travel agency in Toronto, where there's a lot of international or people going home to their different countries of origin. So it's different. I can't say. I personally have not come across a ban. So when this whole thing with China was going on, and it was getting a little, little nervous, a little sticky, we tried everything to get out of it, or like defer it to another time, right? But no go. It was happening. So we had to register, with the government, government affairs, and it was interesting.
So, have you ever had somebody come to you and say they want to go somewhere, and you're like, no? Has anybody been like, I want to go to North Korea? Like,
no,
or
no. But South Korea, a lot of people go there to teach.
South Korea,
I have no issues with
like,
that.
is there? Because when I think of the world, I'm pretty sure, as I understand, North Korea, it's hard to get in there.
I don't think you can. I'm aware of.
Is there anywhere else in the world like that? That there maybe, but that's like the most popular spot where like it's just almost impossible to get into.
Why would you want to, I guess?
I know. I know.
Because I don't even think family are allowed to visit family. Like, I don't know. Once you're gone, you're gone, I would think.
I know
right?
one person that's gone there. Because
Yeah.
she was teaching in South Korea.
And she
went.
Oh, that's
And, well, I don't know if she went. She told me she did.
No, okay.
I believe her.
Ask her
but,
for the pictures.
Yeah. Well, she said they weren't allowed to take pictures, so I don't know. I don't know.
That's interesting. No, I have no desire to go.
Yeah, I know. It's a little crazy. But then you hear, like, I don't, like, again, politics, the bigger you get, the less I know. But Trump just went there.
Yes, that was, I stayed awake to watch that. Actually, it was in the middle of the night that was live.
That was
broadcasted.
iconic, yeah?
Yeah, I was really emotional about it. And some people say, you know what they say about Trump and teach their own, whatever.
Right,
but
doesn't matter.
It's like, take that out of the equation for a moment.
This instance is what we're talking about.
This is huge, you know what I mean? Oh, it doesn't mean anything. It means everything. If you were actually watching it and saw, you know, the two of them connect the way that they did.
You watched this?
No, I watched it. Oh yeah, I stayed up. I put my alarm on.
It's amazing.
I love that kind of stuff. There's a sign that there could be peace there down the road, and it seems like, you know, everyone said Trump's a bully and he called him Little Rocket Man or whatever.
Right.
But look, it worked.
Right.
It brought him to the table.
Right.
And sometimes, you know, it's that whole, you know, thing where when you fight back, there's a level of respect.
1,000,000%.
Do you know what I mean?
1,000,000%.
And that's a kind of an example of that, because if you back off and allow someone to walk all over you, which is kind of what happened there for many, many years, and same thing happening with Iran, when you allow that to happen, they will, and they lose respect.
100%.
So this Trump, like him or hate him, he stands up and he just says what he says, does what he does. You know he means it, and his way of dealing with things is very
unconventional.
Yes, that's the word. Yes, unconventional, but it's working. So.
I'll tell you, coming to politics stuff, these are the type of actions that I like. This is me. When I watch any politician talking and it's scripted and somebody else wrote it and it's all bullshit, I don't care. But somebody like Trump, like him or not, because he said things I like and things I don't like.
Right.
But I respect when people are saying what they're feeling and what's honest. And that's something, it was Rob Ford that died? Or was that the other one?
Rob.
And even though there was all kinds of shit there, I admired how he approached things that way.
Absolutely.
But I also understand in politics you can't always be like that.
Well, I'd like to see a day where you can.
Yeah, okay,
because
maybe.
We're not perfect. We're human beings. I'm a human being just like you're a human being.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to say things. I might even cuss here and there. I mean, that's the reality of human beings.
Exactly.
So we're not perfect.
No.
We're absolutely not perfect.
No.
If we want to continue to vote in the most popular, the one who says all the right things, but does nothing, right? Then don't complain, about our future.
So you like that kind of politician as well?
I love that kind,
right?
I love it. I don't love what he says. Sometimes I think, whoa, did you just say that? Do you know what I mean? Like, how could you say that wrong? You know. And there are other times where... But
it's better than just trying to say
the right... I
don't
like
lies.
Yeah, I don't like phoniness.
Exactly.
I don't like any of that. And I don't know how you can trust somebody that is... We call them great speakers. They're not great speakers. They've memorized the whole thing, and they're just...
They have good memories.
They're just... they're placating. They're
I know.
Yeah, it's rhetoric.
I like hearing that you like that style too.
That's why I'm not elected federally or provincially, probably because of that. Because I can't be that person.
Yeah,
I don't want to be that person.
That's good.
But locally, you can.
I have way more respect that way, and that's why.
Yeah.
That's why those are the things I like about those two politicians. Because when you talk how you feel, because how it's I don't even know what it's like to be a politician, but I feel like a lot of times they're saying what they think people want to hear instead of what they feel.
And that's okay. They can do that, but follow up with actions then.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Let's watch that.
Yeah.
Let's just pick one and let's listen to everything that they say, and then just a year follow them and see what happens.
Right.
Not a heck of a lot.
Right.
Not a heck of a lot.
You get more action from people that say how they're feeling.
It's true.
Yeah.
You can see the passion and hear the passion when people speak about something. And those are the people you need to trust.
So yeah, I'll bring up a situation right here where I'm pretty sure you've seen some of my burger reviews.
Yes. The last one was like...
And the last one...
That was crazy, though.
So I was shocked because you don't comment on all my videos.
I don't.
You do comment, but
Yes.
not. It's intermittent.
Intermittent.
But you commented a positive one when I was just under the radar with that My Place video.
Yes.
And I was shocked because I didn't. Some people don't want to get in the waters.
Oh, I don't mind getting in the water. Again, I don't do things irrationally.
Right.
I really think things through if I need to.
Yeah.
But that was just, I mean, there's right and there's wrong. I guess I'm a little black and white when it comes to things like that. So that was just wrong.
So did you see my original review?
Yes.
And then you seen my follow-up?
Yes.
Did you see his apology?
I did.
So you seen the stuff. So
yes.
Yeah. It was nice to see that you had support in there because it's funny how something as light as a burger review can get so
emotional.
Yeah. And I do understand, like, I'm a business owner.
You handled it as you do all of them very professionally.
That's interesting to hear.
Well, this last one, you really didn't say it. That's the end of it. What does DQ mean?
Disqualified.
Okay, I'm like, that's not a Dairy Queen burger. So, okay, now I'm getting hip to it. Okay, so disqualified. So it didn't even make the charts. You know what I'm saying?
No chart.
And so you could have went on and on about that, but visual is everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you didn't need to. And that's what you're doing. You're doing burger reviews. Like, we should all be...
How do you be... Oh, my 2 cents here, too. Right from when I started, because before I did those, I was doing Must See Mondays, which were... our reference here, more of a prep politician because the business knew I was coming. I didn't know what I was eating, but it was to showcase, promote, feature, which was fine and dandy. These burger reviews are unplanned, unscripted, unedited.
Right.
And something I was worried about from the get-go, which I'm not worried about now, but was hurting a business.
Yeah.
Because even with the places that have gotten a bad score or not, my goal is not to put them out of business.
Of course not.
It's not to take food off the plates of their family, like I've been accused of, or anything.
Yeah.
It's literally, if it's bad and I had a bad experience, I honestly hope that they take it to make it better. And it maybe even if they don't care about it, then don't care and move on. Like I could go to any of the greatest restaurants and have a bad burger, and it was literally the only bad burger they've served in 10 years.
And you give people the opportunity to...
Every opportunity. Yeah, exactly. I'll go anywhere.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was nice hearing because I do get some of the business owners. They should all be passionate about their business. But what I've learned now, why the weight has been lifted off my shoulders, is because what I've noticed now is... regardless of what happens in the review, good or bad, that these businesses, just lucky for me how it works, they actually have a moment where people are looking at them. And that's when they have an opportunity to shine. But
so true. And I forget something, I had a bad article in the paper written about me recently too, and I remember one of the counselors saying to me, "You were in the news?" I said, "Yes." He said, "No, I mean, you were in the news. That's a good thing." Right. Don't ever think that's a bad thing. Because if your name's in the news, that's a good thing. Yeah. So stop, and I said, well, but, yeah, it's the news. They're going to say whatever they want to say. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So when he said that to me, and he's a seasoned veteran. He's
been around.
He's water off duck's back. Just move on.
Exactly.
You don't have a malicious bone in your body, Joe. You know what I mean? You don't. And anybody who knows you knows that. And you have a following of people who respect you and know that. Yeah. So I think it's an interesting concept, and it's a chance you take, right? You're going to get people that are not going to be happy with you. But guess what? As my dad always said, there's going to be people who love you, people who hate you. C'est la vie. You know what I mean? Just stick to your guns, right? Stick to what you believe in. So
see, and talking about politicians, honestly, I'll tell you, it's been really interesting because when you open up to more honesty, you're going to get some criticism back. Yeah. Absolutely. And people that don't like you. Because I like people. Like, I tend to find I can find common ground with anybody. Right. But when you start being really honest, people get upset about it. Some people don't like hearing the truth. The truth hurts is so
it does.
true.
It does. And again, what I think we need to remember in my line of work, your line of work, is that honesty without compassion is cruelty. So let's just remember that.
That's a great line.
It is.
I wish I could clip that. I wish I knew when this was, because that's such a great line.
It is, and it's true, and that's how I try to live my life. So
say it again.
Honesty without compassion is
cruelty. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with being honest. It's all in how you say it.
Yeah.
Right. And if somebody wants to take it in a negative respect, there's not a lot you can do as long as you've been kind. Your delivery of it, so to speak. But my honesty or my truth is not necessarily your truth.
Right.
That's another thing we need to remember.
100%.
I debate with people a lot. And their truth, they're very passionate about it. And in my mind, I'm thinking, are you out of your mind? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you can't possibly believe that. And I have to remind myself, they do believe that. And they believe it passionately. Just like I can believe something completely opposite from what they're saying.
Right.
So I find that dynamic so interesting. And
interesting.
I love my relationship offline and online with my NDP friends and my Liberal friends. But we can debate till the cows come home. Right. And there's no budging sometimes. Do you know what I mean? There's just like, I just don't get you. Well, I don't get you either. Okay, we're going to agree to disagree on this one. Because it's two completely different. That's what makes it so wonderful. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But it happens a lot. It happened today with a situation. So
yeah,
it happened about the cancer bus that the provincial government axed.
I'm not familiar.
It's a bus that goes around the region and does cancer screening. So the provincial government decided no more.
No funding.
No more funding for it. So Wayne Gates had this online presence video or whatever talking about it, and then decided with the talking points, right, about the PCs and about Doug Ford. And okay, so I actually shared it to my region site, and some of my NDP friends said, so happy to see that you shared that. And I said, I shared it because it's absolutely true. I'm totally against the fact that we're cutting life-saving, situations for people. We need that bus. And then conservative folks chimed in and said, why can't they just go to the hospital? Like a rational thinking, just go to a hospital, go to a clinic, go to your doctor, get some screening done. I totally get how they're thinking. Totally, 100%. But then I need to remind folks, not everybody has those resources. I was in Fun Hill. Do you know Fun Hill has a shortage of doctors? There's over 1,000 patients from a doctor that's just retired that are in no man's land, and that's Fun Hill. That's like nice, fancy Fun Hill.
Yeah.
Okay, can you imagine other areas, urban areas, like rural areas where people don't have a doctor?
Right.
Or maybe are, have a disability or are handicapped and can't get to a doctor. Or possibly live in poverty and can't get. This isn't it. This isn't the world that we live in, just us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
There is a vulnerable sector of our society that requires assistance. And those of us that are doing well, we have an obligation. We have a moral obligation.
I completely
to give back.
Side with that. 1,000,000%.
And so there's the debate ensued. And then and then it started into Doug Ford. I don't want to hear about Doug Ford. This isn't about colors. This isn't about blue or red or orange. This is about a bus.
Yeah.
Just a bus, people. And I implore the provincial government to please reconsider that bus. To try to find cuts elsewhere. That's all. There's got to be other ways that we can find. Then it gets into, the rich need to pay that more. If we got more money from the rich.
Right.
Please. I'm not into sound bites and talking points. It's about a bus. Yeah. I would like to see the bus stay.
Let's keep the bus.
How can we work together to keep the bus? That's it. So I'm so non-partisan now. Do you know what I mean? I could have a conservative view. I could have an NDP view.
It's tough when you're part of one of the parties, right? Yeah. Because, I see. These are dynamics that...
I love it, though. I love it. Because if I don't agree with them, on something or another view, and a conservative view is stronger for me, which generally is the case, I have no problem saying that. I'm proud to be a conservative. I'm very proud of that. I've never not been proud of it.
Yeah. If I had to pick a party, I imagine that's one I'd be. I'm a pro-business. This is pro-business.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than that, and it needs to be carefully thought out when you're actually, if you choose to pick a party. I would love to see a world where there is no
parties.
Just,
right.
Or
is that possible?
Where they all work together.
Is that possible?
I don't know. Not under the present.
I know.
I want to live long enough to see politics change. I really do.
Right.
To be able to be in it at a local level, I realize and recognize how so important it is to be able to speak, either for or against, and not be in any, jeopardy of losing a position, or do you know what I mean? I love local politics because this is where it all happens. Really, this is where it happens. All that stuff up there is just F-35s, and it's just not important. This is what's important, right?
Yeah.
So it took. I've been in politics since 2008. It took this long to me. I made a conscious decision not to run again federally because I wanted to be in local politics, and I knew I was taking a chance. And I may not get elected. Do you know what I mean? To region, but. Thank you, everybody. I did get elected, and I'm so happy.
Awesome.
I'm so happy to be there.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I think you're a great person to be in that role. I can't think of anybody better.
Thank you.
I haven't met your counterpart.
He's a good guy.
I think we've exchanged some messages online, but Leanna, you're awesome.
Thank you, Joe. So are you. Love me or hate me, right? And it's okay because I do stick to what I believe in. So
yeah, I love it. And see, when talking about politicians that are more honest, that's you. I don't see you being scripted or anything like that.
I'm not scripted. And I lived scripted for many years because you have to. I mean, you just have to, because when you're dealing on a federal level like that, I wouldn't call it scripted, or they call them talking points, whatever you want to call them. Right. There are issues that are happening all over the country, right? And so if you've got a federal candidate out in BC talking about a federal issue and saying whatever the heck they want, and you got, a couple here in Alberta saying whatever, and PI saying, that's just not going to work. I mean, either you belong to a party and you believe in the policy that they've set forth, or you don't. You shouldn't be a candidate if you don't believe in the conservative values and policies. Yeah. So it was easy for me, but I can remember Prime Minister Harper, a couple times asking, me to speak about something. Do you know what I mean? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm not the girl for that. I can't do that with a straight face.
Right.
That's not my forte.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not that I don't believe in it. It's that I'm not versed in it.
Right.
But give me this, I'll run to the hills with it. I'll be great with it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm not. And I use F-35s as one of those examples. Right. Because I remember reading this and please don't anybody ask me about this. Because I'm not passionate about this. I don't want to talk about this. And I realized that, you have to be broad when it comes to federal and provincial politics. Right. And I'm not that kind of person. You give me a project that, I'm in the trenches.
You are.
You give me a project and I will run with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the biggest eye-opener was being able to be elected locally like this. And I would never have it any other way. A lot of people, I did it backwards. I started federally and ended up locally.
Right.
And some, loser. No. As a matter of fact, I'm glad I did it like that because I learned that this is so important, and this is where my passion and my love is in my community.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about me trying to, climb the ladder. This is not my starting point. This is my ending point.
Yeah, this is where you want to be. Yeah.
So
one thing I can't believe I didn't even think of is Float Fest. Were you the creator of this?
I was not the creator. I had Phil Gladman was it was his vision, his idea.
Right.
And somebody and I didn't know him very well at the time, and somebody had recommended that he come and see me.
Because you're a woman of action.
And I remember laughing, thinking, well, who the heck told you to come and see me? What do you want me to do with this? Because it was like 6 weeks away from the date he had advertised that it would happen. But realized there's a lot of bureaucracy in all of this. Yes.
I didn't know this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
that's the first year.
Phil Gladman, he's the one that brought this together. Mm-hmm. Was he still part of it now?
Yeah, he's still there. Yeah.
So he had this idea.
That's a great idea, yeah.
Yeah, and what was his vision of it from?
Well, it was I would say on a smaller scale, just a bunch of people jumping in the canal, having a good time.
To have a good day.
Yeah, have a good day.
How many?
But there was a lot of regulations with that. You had to go through the city. You had to go through CERT. You had to go through a process. It was not just. I said, Phil, you can just jump in the canal and have a great day. But if you want it to be a festival, then we got to play by the rules.
Right.
So it was a lot of rushing around, and I think
6 weeks to go. Yes, he comes to you.
True story. It's a true story.
We have 6 weeks.
I can't even believe that we pulled it off, but we did.
How many years ago was that?
This was our 4th year. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you made it happen.
We did. It's a tremendous team
I missed
of
it this year.
It was good. It was a good year.
I've been there a couple times, but not this year. I missed it. I was doing a podcast at the time, but
it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, another great year.
And it was a good turnout.
Yes. Lots
of sponsors.
Tons of sponsors. The business community is so on board with it.
Where does the money go that's raised?
It costs about... Well, we have sponsors that sponsor every single thing. So the inflation station, for example, costs a lot of money. That's big equipment. Do you know what I mean? So they come on board, they give us a deal. Still, it's got to be paid for, right? You've got... I can't even think. I mean, it's fireworks.
There's tons of stuff.
Anyway,
it's an event.
It's an event. It costs us about, I think on average, about $42,000 to run that festival.
That seems pretty good.
Well, we keep it streamlined, and it's all paid for by sponsors. So I think we had maybe, and don't quote me, I'm not the treasurer, but maybe $1,000 left over at the end of the day. So, yeah. And we use that for storage, and because we have to store stuff. We have that big tiki bar, and we have to store things over the year, right? All of our equipment, all of our stuff. So
a lot of volunteers, there
was about between 60 and 80 volunteers.
Wow. Mm-hmm. It grew pretty quickly.
It did. It was embraced by the public. Wasn't embraced by the city at first, and I get why.
Liability?
Exactly. I feel the same way. Don't think I don't. I mean, that day is probably one of the most stressful days of my life, literally.
You don't want anybody getting hurt.
Yeah, you don't want to be around me on that day. I mean, I'm a mess, but I just worry. I don't want anybody to get hurt.
It's if something happens, it could really hurt a lot.
Mm-hmm. And you get those folks that just don't get that we don't want alcohol. Do you know what I mean? So they get out there and they're drinking, and you know what I mean? They don't, and I know. So, they want to have a good time. I get that. But please, just don't do it that day. Because you doing that could cause yourself harm, could cause somebody else harm. And then the whole thing is over. It's not a day for that. It's not. But we get that. Yeah. It happens. And then, of course, we got to go out on the water. We got to get them to leave. And then they get mad at us. And they write bad reviews about us and so on and so forth. But
the day can be enjoyed without alcohol.
Absolutely. And it's just one day. I say, please, just one day. Family day.
Alcohol could complement that situation.
The night before.
Not
on the water.
But it's not needed whatsoever to keep it, because even without it, things can go wrong. Yes. So why add?
Why add to it?
Yeah.
So you can understand. I mean, the stress level is through the roof. People don't get it. Sometimes you say, she didn't smile all day. No, I don't smile all day.
Because it's intense.
I worry all day long. I really do. From the moment I get out.
When is the fireworks a nice time for you?
Yeah, it is.
Because the fireworks are nice.
Aren't they the best in Niagara?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are the best.
That's a great. Yeah, so hopefully you enjoy that part.
I do. Yeah, I do. I got to say I do. Yeah.
So Phil's vision was just to bring people in Welland together to have a good day, one day of just enjoying.
Take back the water it started. Do you know what I mean? It was at a time when... you couldn't go on the waterway, and there were no motorized sports. It was that upheaval at that time. Well, it's our canal, and we're going to take it back, sort of thing. So that's kind of where it all came from. It was like
Phil's from Welland?
Yes.
Is he a business owner too, or?
Him and his, you will know him. His girlfriend. They have the Mama Misfits cheese.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. Yeah.
I have not been there yet.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Well, I went there once; it was closed. But,
okay.
Yeah, but I've had it, and it is delicious.
Oh, beyond, yeah. And they do keto, and they do vegan, and
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's great.
So Float Fest is okay. Another thing too, that 1 year was the world record.
Yes, Guinness World Book record.
Is that record still held by?
It was. We were beaten out I believe last year by, and I'm still ticked about this. I think it was Italy, and they did it in a pool. So if you look at the picture of these people with the longest line of inflatables, they're in a pool. They're all dressed in the same color bathing suits, and they got these caps on their head, and they're all lying flat and holding on to each other's things. I'm like, that is wrong.
That's
Do you
not
know
hardcore.
what we had to go through to get that record? Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's a whole other issue.
So are we going to break it again?
We will. I just don't know when, because that, just to do that alone, costs $30,000 with Guinness World Book. And Canadian Tire, they paid for that.
Which Canadian Tire?
Canadian Tire Corporation, Canadian Tire Welland, Canadian Tire Financial.
Wow.
Combined, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why does it cost so much?
That's Guinness. Ask Guinness that question.
You have to pay them 30
because
they got to fly somebody out and monitor it and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, wow. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, yeah, I wasn't pleased.
So they took that record for now. Mm-hmm. But it can definitely, I'm assuming there's more people at the event than when the record was broken. So it's not a matter of people. It's just a matter of... Oh,
no. It's a matter of organizing, and it takes a lot. Like, we didn't even realize... we needed more preparation. We're lucky we got it, but it took people diving in the water and pulling rafts together, and I can't even tell
rentals.
You. Yes, they were fantastic, Brian. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it took a real group effort to make that happen, because we had the line, and then somebody out on the water announced, "Way to go!" Blah blah. But we didn't. The guy was still on the deck
so it wasn't done yet.
He hadn't even gone out on the sea-doo to measure.
You're right.
So everybody let go, and there was a current that particular year. So when I saw that happen, I was like, I cannot believe this is happening.
It was falling apart.
Darn it, we are going to get this record no matter what. So we all just kind of got together, and like literally we were diving into the water and pulling people together and getting on floats and explaining to people, no, grab onto the float next to you. Like, oh yeah, it was crazy. But we did it. We did it.
That's
we did
amazing.
it. So if everybody knew really the extent of what we had to go to make that happen.
How long was it? Do you remember? It was long. I don't remember.
I don't even.
But it was long.
Something meters. Yeah, I don't
something
remember.
long.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it was so expensive either.
Yes. So people are like, "Are we going to break the record next year?" It's like, it costs $30,000 to break the record, folks. You know what I mean? So
how many people went this year? It's do you know, or is it
floaters in the we did our count, and this might be the first time we're even announcing it. Floaters in the water, like floating, I think was close to 2,200 people.
Wow.
How many people in the park?
Yeah.
We have no clue, because a lot of people didn't float, so they were just.
There were some good bands too, right? You guys get good music.
Yeah. Well, Shane, Christopher Neal, and Steve Zabo, I have to thank them, because really we put it in their hands at the beginning of the year, and they just run with it. So,
yeah. What's the band that was there? I think it was last year. It was the first time I heard them play. They play all kinds.
The Associates?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I had never.
Not great or what? Yeah. They were at Pelham Fest last night, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I had never heard them before there.
Yeah.
And they put on a great show.
Didn't they put on a great show?
I loved it.
They're one of the best.
I loved it. Like,
people came just for the concert, and other people came just for the fireworks. So it's hard to say how many people go in and out of that park in a day. No idea, but our obligation is to make sure we're monitoring the amount of people on the water. That's
right.
Yeah.
So was that the most you've had? 2,200?
Yeah, we just keep increasing every year.
Every year's bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we may outgrow that park. I don't know. So
where would you go next?
The team will decide next year. We don't know. The Flatwater Center possibly next year. I don't know.
Is that by Dane City?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's lots of parking there.
There's more room there?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Doesn't have the ambiance of the park. Do you know what I mean? So, so it's difficult to make that call, right? But
do you guys have to rent, like, from the city or anything?
Yeah, a lot of our stuff is rented from the city. That's another
expense. Like the land?
No, not the land. The park is ours for the day.
Yeah.
But your picnic tables, all that stuff has to be rented, right? Nothing's for free, because if it's for free, it's really not for free. You're paying for it. I'm paying for it, right? So, we do rent. And we do get a little bit of a grant from the city. So I'm just so pleased that they support it. Do you know what I mean? Because it was hard for them to believe it was going to be a free family fun event, right? I'm sure everybody tells them that. And then they turn into concerts and drinking and, you know, beer gardens and whatever. I said, never, not while I'm around will that happen. We have a vision for what this is, and it's just one day where people from every age, we've had 90-year-olds, we've had people with little babies.
Yeah, babies.
I wouldn't do it, but whatever, teach their own.
Yeah.
They're adults and they're capable as long as everybody has a life jacket, right? Under the age of 16.
Right.
That was the vision that we had, was just to see people smiling for the day like that and enjoying a day with their family. And we fulfilled that.
It is a fun day.
We fulfilled that.
It is fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. For who? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
No, it is. It is.
So, is there anything else you want to talk about?
We've covered, I don't know.
A lot of good stuff.
To chat about.
You're awesome.
You're awesome.
Not like you, though. Not like you.
No, just me.
Yeah. I met, maybe one last thing's a friend of yours, Crystal Smalden.
Yep.
And she's going to be coming to do a podcast one day.
Oh, fantastic.
She seems like a super interesting person.
Yeah.
She's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
So I'm going to be looking forward to that one too.
Wonderful. Yeah. Great. When's that happening?
I think it's in the next month.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. She's a busy girl.
Yeah.
Very busy girl.
We have it scheduled in. I forget, but
good.
Yeah. Well,
Wonderful.
This has been amazing.
Likewise. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leanna.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. It's great. Love it.